This will be in English, by the way. Hello, everyone. We will start with a question to introduce ourselves in a way. This is a question for each of you. What does worldwide success in animation mean to you? Is it reaching a global audience, earning industry recognition, having creating freedom, collaborating with top studios or idols, using innovative technology, completing epic productions, or something else?
Well, considering that the film Flow was made in Latvia, where there's no industry, I would say that actually the success is that probably the next upcoming film students they might have an industry there in Latvia now. And that is something that I have noticed, that after there's a successful game in a country like, for example, Croatia, and then the industry begins to bloom. So I would really hope that after Flow we will have a, let's say, Flow school of film industry there.
Yeah, I would agree that it is very important to get things moving in a way from the production side. It is very important when a film is internationally visible and when you reach the global audience, which is also the case with our film Cricket and Antoinette, that was distributed in 80 countries. And this was actually the goal. As you know, small countries don't have that many viewers available, and the projects are not feasible, even feasible, if they don't get to wider audience. So that's a big step further, and the step that should secure the better conditions and possibilities for future projects and future generations. That's the main issue, especially for small production countries with small budgets to start to get further than before, of course.
Also, I would say that it really matters a lot for independent studios that they get heard, they get seen. Because in case of Flow, it was not really easy to secure any budget at the beginning, so we had to work like. I mean, Gins Zilbelods did his homework and he made the film before that, but he made it without any budget, and he basically not really sacrificed, but
I think he did sacrifice.
Definitely sacrificed his few years of his life just to get to be seen, so he could make this film. So yeah.
And Draško, can we hear you?
Yes, I'm an animator and producer from Adriatic Animation. And I'm now based in France, but I also work in Croatia still. So I try to balance small, risky auteur films, and also I'm trying to learn from structured French industry. So this is where I am right now. And I think it's a lot of potential in indie animation. Flow showed us how far you can go with a small budget all the way to the Oscars. I think we should all look at that example and try to be more bold and make more auteur cinema, because what we are, from my experience, a lot of my colleagues are struggling to do. We are struggling to copy a business model of DreamWorks or Disney, but we will never be big as such these corporations. We will never have such big budgets, So to me, this is already lost battle. But where we are strong as Europe, we are strong in auteur cinema. And I'm really sorry I didn't see Cricket and Antoinette, but as I know from people who worked on it, this is also auteur cinema, So this is something which we can keep nourish, and working on it in the future,
The truth is somewhere in the middle. You still need to reach the audience. You still need to be aware of global trends. that's something that is very important in preparation of the project. It needs to be authentic, but at the same time, there are rules on the market that actually make it possible. And for example, Flow is a great example. In almost every part of the production concerning the, let's say, concerning the technique of work that you did it in 3D. It's very important to make an animated feature in 3D because they get much better position in the cinemas because of the dynamics and the style that audience is used to. That's why we did it also in 3D. So yeah, the creativity, the originality is necessary. This is what is European heritage. But in a way, you need to follow trends a lot and yeah, know the market.
And Martins, I saw you wrote on X that you are a Blender preacher. You mentioned 3D in animation, so I wonder how do you think that Blender animation contributed to the success of Flow and technology in general, and what difference did it make in its success?
Blender is open source. That means that anyone can start using or working with Blender at any moment if you have money or not. The thing you only need is a computer. That doesn't have to be very fast or advanced. So that opens possibilities to get students working for film, for our film especially. So we got 4 or 5 students in our team. So they helped. So I was teaching Blender in art school. I got 3 of my students to work for the film, and we also had an intern, and all of them had used Blender before. That means that yeah, you have especially in country like Latvia or probably also here, there's a bigger possibility to find a workforce that use Blender. Another thing, Blender is, well, in my time when I started Blender, and I have been Blender preacher for 20 years, and in my time when I started Blender, it was considered to be like a software that everyone was kind of like laughing at me, like, why don't you use Maya or Cinema 4D? It's like Blender is like, I don't know, it was not really considered to be good software. It has really changed past maybe 10 years, especially in the past 5 years. The Blender has grown into something that other paid software is now starting to compete with, like trying to get to reach Blender's update speeds and the features. So yeah, it's a win-win situation. You get one of the best softwares out there and for free.
Good to know. And besides Blender, what do you think contributed to the success of the movie from your experience? What did you see? And did you maybe get some insights into what it takes to make this kind of a scope of production and achieve this kind of success?
Director, definitely. Ginz is a very special guy, and he's also from the same school that I come from, and every teacher now every kid there in the school wants to copy Ginz, and we are all of the teachers are like saying to the kids, don't look at Ginz, he's an anomaly. Nobody should do things like Ginz does. But yeah, Ginz is something that, well, first of all, there wouldn't be movie and the production like this in Latvia without him. What else? I would say that the way that the team, or actually the way the workflow Ginz chose to to work with. His workflow and style is very different. That is considered to be industry standard. So we did things what others considered to be wrong, and but that proved to be probably the only way how we could actually make the movie. And it kind of also scared a lot of producers. So we were doing things how you're not supposed to do, and probably we would lose the film, not really film, the money that they were investing. But the good thing is that with these small productions, there are not a lot of things that you can lose. Just a little bit of money and a little bit of time. That's it. And probably that's why indie films, maybe more experimental films, are the only way how you could make them in this way. If it was a big budget film, it would be impossible to make film like Flow, like without dialogue, animals that are only animals, and graphics that look like computer game.
This is another question for all of you, and that is when you have this ambition of making a movie that is accordingly to your vision of success, how do you balance the financial side, the creative side, the technological side? Where is the balance in all this? Where do you find the right measure and the right compromise?
Probably because Dražko and me are producing films, we are in a bit closer to the topic. But I think, of course, in the beginning there is the idea and the concept of the project, and then the financial structure will impose the approach. And although smaller productions have this flexibility, I think even in Flow as well as in our projects, we are actually trying to achieve the best possible result by optimizing and adapting our possibilities and our goals, somehow leveling it up. Like you can do certain things, in a more efficient way. In certain moment, once the financing is in place, you need to know exactly how to use this financing to get the optimal result. So, fortunately, you can make changes fast, and you are not in a big system which is, inert and expensive. So that helps.
Dražko, your view?
Yeah, I can add on this that from my experience, the best is to spend time on a very long gestation. So basically, with Ginz was the same, because he was even showing this old cartoon about cat who was afraid of water. So this same idea was living in his heart for 20 years. So you can see when he delivered, because he was always fascinated with this kind of stories, you could feel that this is a story he was cooking for a very long time, And then when production money is in place, you better produce it fast, So that's, I was always advised, if you have to finance development team, which is maybe 3-4 people for a very long time, and then when you have to bring like 50 people in production, you better do it in very short time, So it's also like we have to try to see how far we can minimalize. There is like a Don Hesfeld film, which is, by the way, very popular in America. And he is using characters which we call sticky figures. but he brought a lot of depth in his stories and emotion, and he hired really good voice actors. And this was popular, well, maybe not massively popular like Pixar, but when you go on every event in the US, they will all know about Don Hertzfeldt, because he has very strong followers, and then and again, yeah, you always have industry, corporate films like Pixar and DreamWorks. So this is important to know that we cannot compare with this kind of players. We will never have this kind of infrastructure or backing. So I always say, my colleagues, stop dreaming that you will be next Pixar, but you can still succeed. You can still reach the audience. You can still make something which will touch a lot of audience.
Yeah, I like the idea of the gestation period. So Gins definitely. So it's actually is Gins' first film. It was called Aqua, and it's a short about a cat, basically the same as Flow, during floods. And also during when we got the team together and Gins got the office, it was immediately clear that the most important part and the longest period will be the pre-production. So we actually discussed and planned quite a lot before we actually started working on the film. And the animation actually took only 6 months. So when the production started, it was in total maybe a year or something like that. So half a year getting everything visually done, and then half a year just animation. So it was a quick period. So you don't have a lot of money to burn, let's say. So it has to be done really smart.
Okay, thank you. In the end, all of you responded. And you mentioned that you think that the best success coming from Flow, getting an Oscar and everything, was getting the industry started. So this is a question for Draško and Dino. We in Croatia have an Oscar for a short animation, Surrogat. And it's from the time of Zagreb School of Animated Films, but that was decades ago. So I wonder if you can tell me if there are any lessons we can take from this kind of success now, in this time, or we need to turn to the future and innovation and totally change something.
Well, there are lessons. Then we had the industry when it happened. But in the same way, the thing that is very important is to know about their experiences and how it worked in 50s, late 50s, early 60s, and how important it was for the society and how significant for Croatian culture it was. Unfortunately, times change, and we actually had to reset and restart Croatian animation scene. The approach, the technique, the audience, everything changed in the last 50 years. But the spirit and the imagination that they left us is invaluable. Without them, we will not be talking today. And that is something that you always need to have in your mind if you are making animation in Croatia, and look at best examples and their possibilities. And although now the production is definitely international, more global, basically on more ambitious projects you need to co-produce. So there is always the question, is it really completely authentic? But that is not the point. The point is to get the ideas visible and done, and collaborate with like-minded people. So in that sense, things have changed a lot. But I'm really proud that we are from Croatia, that we had this heritage, that we have something to look at, at least because it's inspiring, although very creative.
And Draško, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't see surrogate as a result of the industry because at that point there was
That
no
point-
industry in Zagreb. There was a group of artists who were making very bold, very innovative short films, and they were discovered in Cannes and later going together. And then, of course, as a result of all these 10 years of recognition in the world, we won Oscar. And Vukotic was very inventive, and this is the lesson we can learn from him, because this never dies. We should be inventive even today. And the big lesson from Zagreb Film School is how, with little resources, they achieved so much. And when we talk about industry, this came later. They started to make TV series, whatever. It kind of bit fell apart, maybe because of politics as well. But the lesson still stays because there were these few bold people who were doing things cheaper, different, experimental, and they got recognized by the whole world. And I think we can use that inspiration today. This is still the same.
Great, thank you. Today, Dino, you actually made a feature animated film, Cricket and Antoinette, which is a very rare feat in Croatia. And as far as I know, it's the only 3D feature animated animation film from Croatia.
Yeah, it's the first one. Hopefully there will be more. The one should be out next year by a colleague of ours. So yeah, something is happening. Some results are obviously, you need to break the ice, but then slowly it starts moving.
So how did you have the courage to decide to do this, to break the ice? And for your second movie, what did you learn from the production of the first one?
Well, that's a thing of passion. You are naive and you want to make this move because for a long while there was no animated feature in Croatia, and obviously the time was coming to test contemporary technology to make a 3D CGI because that is lately that is a standard of production of animated feature films. So yeah, I was curious. Then after years and years, you become more involved, and then you experience a very long development hell, as it is usually called, like 10 years or so. But at the end, once you're deep enough, and once you had nerves to overcome all the problems that are happening before the productions. Once you enter the production, it's actually easy. It's only 2 or 3 more years that you need to spend. So basically, the main issue and the main problem is that in small countries there is a small professional society, and you are missing certain competent people, and the lesson would be that you need to co-produce to make such an ambitious project. That is something that we are all aware in Europe, that in smaller countries you need to find some partnerships to get things further, which wasn't the case in our project because we were doing the first one and we weren't that credible when we were trying to find partners, or when we were trying to find foreign financing. We found partners but no financing. Later, now with all this experience, I think it will be much easier to establish the conditions for the second project, but also because with the reference of the last project, you have this certain background and competence that people will believe in.
Great, thank you. And Draško, do you have something to add?
I just wanted to add that after Flow, everyone's waiting for Flow 2 now, and the director said that there's not going to be Flow 2. Doesn't want to become a cat director, But there's this specific that it's I think it's harder to make the second film, even without the first film was probably the breakout one, and nobody really. Creatively, I think it's easier, but and the second film just has this weight of expectations that you have to kind of fulfill. That might be harder. I don't know really. I'm not director.
I'm not very, how to say, I'm not worried about Gin's boldness. He's one of the boldest person I met in life. So I think he's not afraid of his next movie. But what was the question for me? Can you ask?
No, the question. But if you want to add to this question, feel free.
Well, it's what Dino said. I mean, it's like it's difficult to think about industry without having a lot of professionals. It's like almost catch-22. You don't have a lot of professionals because there are no jobs, right? I mean, there are a lot of jobs in gaming industry, and sometimes I have to fight with my colleagues who are hiring animators in gaming industry for the salary, because they're always able to offer more money than I'm able to offer from the publicly found, film. So either I have to work with people who really love animation and they don't worry about job, but if people just need to pay bills, they will go and they will work for game company. That's just reality. And this is something I discovered many times, and I'm still discovering. And this is one of the reasons why I moved to France, because we can find really good crew members here, which are very well educated. They're protected by this system, which pays for their salary even if they're not working. So there are a lot of people here who are flexible, who are moving from studio to studio, and we can use their talent and experience to make Croatian films, So it's like, that's the thing we can do, and we can make original Croatian stories. Because when I went on Sundance with that short film, people were approaching to Kintis and me, and they connected with characters. There's some old ladies from Park City, and then I realized, well, I can be in Zagreb and I can impress people in Park City or Tokyo, or So this is a power we can use. There's a power of storytelling, power of imagination, and I don't know, is this part to the industry? This is another question, because I think industry, there are a lot of factors which you have to fulfill. I know my colleagues, there is one colleague from Poland, and he told me, you just have to do service work. That's it, man. You just have to do a lot of service work. And that's what he does. He does a lot of service work. And after a while, he was not able to make original work, but he did pay a lot of people, big crew, he has the industry, but they're basically working for some other companies, So this is also finding the balance. What do you want? Do you want to be owner of your IP? Do you want to be in control of your creative, input? Or do you want to just be paid, Sometimes maybe these two things are impossible to combine,
And this is actually what I wanted to ask you. You are managing this Adriatic Animation Studio here in Croatia, and you have people working on auteur animation there, but also now you live and work in France, and France has an animation industry. They're pretty much recognized in the world. So I wonder, how did this change your perspective on success, and did you implement any changes in your studio here in Croatia according to your experience in France?
Well, one thing which I appreciate about France is they're very precise and rigorous system. They're very organized always, and they try to keep everything tidy. And so team members are always very organized. There is discipline. There is, and so this is what probably the industry brings. Industry brings high level of professionalism. For example, when you work with animator in Croatia, very often it can happen. I pay a person for a month, but he delivers only 1 week of work worth, right? So and then I can negotiate, but then why do I pay you for the whole month, and you worked only for a week? In France, this kind of thing is impossible, Whoever starts to behave like this, they will never find work in a studio. And there are a lot of new students coming all the time. So in that sense, I'm enjoying this very organized system. They have line producers who are really organized. And on the other hand, I can still enjoy the freedom and flexibility of working with short auteur projects. So it's very difficult to say because I'm in the middle of it. So we live here only for 4 years. And we are now preparing feature film with them, with France. So maybe at the end of it, I will feel horrible, But for now, I feel like I'm surrounded with people who know what they're doing, who have experience with big cinema hits, which we in Croatia, unfortunately, we don't. I mean, Flow is like. I don't know, like it's like a black swan. It made 60 million or even more. I don't know. Like so people in France would kill to have that kind of success. Even in France, right? So they consider Flow is like wow. So the thing is, I think we still, even France, we have to learn a lot, because one thing which I discovered in France, a lot of these studios, they're working for Americans. So they make like the whole season worthy of something for Cartoon Network, but now this is gone because the industry in America is changing. Like they had that strikes, they had whatever, and now big panic. They're closing studios in Paris, they're closing studios in, So I would say industry is very fragile worldwide, right? But maybe some countries have more money to kind of stimulate it, like France. And some countries like Latvia and Croatia, they have smaller, resilient teams who can offer something really creative, as a balance to these really big money corporations.
I just wanted to add that I'm actually quite scared of the name industry. It's I said that I want to have an industry in Latvia, animation industry, but not an industry that you would consider like a machine. More like that's there's like a professionalism, that there's infrastructure, like there are starting from studios to education. So there is a system that just that, for example, if you create professionals, that they can already start working on some Latvian productions. They don't have to go outside of. Well, it's not bad that they're going outside, but it would be nice that they would bring back again the professionalism in Latvia. So there's a marketplace. Industry, I think industry now has a spoiled name.
Well, do you want to add something?
No, not really.
I wanted to actually ask, can you maybe name some examples, references in Europe, in Croatia, or worldwide that you think would be good practices for small countries and markets like ours?
Well, this is a great question, because Flow is the best example in quite a while, I would say. There are there are certain companies and certain important people in animation world from Europe, and for example, I don't know, Sergio Pablos from Spain, who is basically who is influential even in Hollywood, and who created his film Klaus for Netflix, and that is a good example of how somebody can be important, being from Europe, being not necessarily from Hollywood, although he has some connections with them. But Flow is really the landmark for doing it, especially in smaller countries, how to approach and how to creatively achieve the proper result. That's simple. That was simple. Thank you.
Yeah, Flow is a good example. I don't know how he did it. It was it's, probably luck or some some probably just like a right time to do that, something like that. I wanted to add that I met people from Laika Studio a while ago, and it was surprising to hear from them that they are also independent, and yeah, I think it's also a good example. That they made the Coraline and it's the stop motion. But they are American, yeah. I thought that I mean America. Yeah, it is an advantage. That's true. In Europe, flow, yeah.
I mean, I can add there is Cartoon Saloon, you know, so they made 3 times to Oscars, and one of their films was co-produced with Apple, you know. So I would say this is pretty big success for a small company from Kilkenny, Ireland, you know. Like, and well, they did 2 films with France as well, so obviously they learned a lot from this French system, you know. But I think they're a good example besides Flow, and I would say maybe even little bit better example, because what Cartoon Saloon is good at, they discovered their own heritage. They use graphics, Celtic graphics, Celtic stories. We are all little countries with our own little traditions. We can start digging it and we can start using it in our stories. You know, I mean, what Flow created, it created a film which is very universal, but I'm not sure that you can keep doing that same formula. I think this was really just a lot of luck. Industry just needed something like this, you know. So I hope Ginz can find something which is more even like unique in the next project, you know. And I don't know, I strongly believe in European cinema, especially smaller countries, having this personal, small, local stories, but give them like, you know, that they look really professional, they look, they're done in a very good way. I think this is formula we should try. We should keep trying until we get more and more success, you know.
I completely agree. Each of European country is very special.
And about European animation in general, I think it is, at least that's my opinion, pretty hard to conceptualize the audience and the market for somebody from a small European country. And usually our animation is limited to festival distribution, art festival distribution, where you do get in touch with the audience and you can get some feedback and you can get some validation. But how do you not lock yourself in that festival bubble?
Well, I think it depends on what you're actually doing and what is focus of your production work. So basically, if you want to reach the audience, you need to be in animated features or TV or animated series. They have certain demands and you know, certain approach. The process is tough, long, and expensive. even in small scale, it's still expensive. There is no such thing as a very low budget in animation. You know, immediately it's expensive. Even in a short films, it's expensive. But for auteur short films, the main platform is festival scene, and obviously Draško will have better information about it. But somehow, my opinion is that the ultimate aim of, or the main aim of the whole community of animators in certain country would be to have both, and to have the development of ideas through the system of short animation, which is creatively more free and satisfying, but at the same time to produce as much projects as possible for the audience, and that is a bit different, and that takes more support from society because it's more expensive. Unfortunately, unfortunately, like not only in Croatia, but in Croatia, it's a visible problem. You don't get financing from broadcasters for animation, which is, I think, a strange thing because animation is more watched than most of the other programs that broadcasters are making. So that's limiting. Anyway, that's for my part.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a producer.
No, I.
But I mean, I know that I was considering Flow to be an art house film, and it should have stayed in festivals. But apparently, people wanted something like that, and it got out of the festivals.
Well, when you have an animated feature produced and this format exists and it can be screened in cinemas, you must know that there are not that many animated features made a year in the whole world. So basically, such type of content is missing. It's in demand. So people want to see animation in cinemas. Okay, things are changing because after Corona, cinemas changed the let's say there is some interest for cinema is lost in the meantime, but still the animated feature as a type of content is in demand. So that's a good thing about it.
And Draško, your view?
On festivals, I would say festivals are getaways. They're not a destination. Like our big success, Moneyworld, it was seen all over the world, not because of festivals, but also because it was on Arte France, and also because it was on Amazon Prime. And this is where like more than 200,000 people watched it. We get data from National Film Board of Canada. So in reality, we all want to reach audience. I mean, festival is a beautiful place where you can, in safe space, maybe show your film, get some feedback or whatever, but in reality, actually get sales agent or distributor. For example, even for indie cinema, so I'm not talking just about animation, the normal path is to come either to Sundance or Toronto, and then Neon or A24 comes and they pick your film, and then they can make money in US with your film, right? And it's not only about money. For me, if film makes money, that means it has a lot of audience, And the reason why we make film is to reach a lot of audience. And festival is really small bubble, And for short films, I mean, there is a path to cinemas, and this is like Oscar nomination, of course. And every film which is nominated for Oscar get a festival, they get cinema run in US, like 400 screens or even more, and they get recognized, and then a lot of TV stations, they want to buy it, So it's like 5 films per year, okay. But it's a valuable goal for like short film maker to try to reach Oscars, because it's possible, it's not closed door. They're open for everybody, right? So I would say festival as a gateway, right? But I love festivals because it's an important community and they create this kind of possibility to mingle, to work together, to make co-productions. Because I feel animation is a very safe space for me because people are usually very friendly and very encouraging in this kind of communities. That's why I think festival is also very good platform for the film, But it doesn't have to be. For example, new Paul Thomas Anderson, they didn't go on any festival. They just opened big in London, they made press release, whatever, and, he's now earning money, And it's indie film, right? But kind of, because financed by Warner Bros. With $150 million, So it's kind of today very tricky to say what the film is, what is indie, what is not, So it's like, yeah.
Thank you very much. And now we are at the end of our discussion, and we are waiting for the questions from the audience. Does anybody want to ask something? No?
Well, that's very good because we ran out of time.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You did an amazing job, and thank you, Draško, for waiting for us for such a long time to come online. Thank you.